Welcome back, guys. This is going to be the third part of our video tutorial. In the last video, if you are following along in my videos tutorial, in the second part, and what we did, we basically create the route. We wrote our custom route class, custom route function in Node.JS. So now we have a little form here. This form allows us to post the data into the, well, it is not complete. We'll be writing all along the way, but idea is we'd like to save this data into MySQL database, right? So we have now our form ready to go. Well, we just have our form. That's all we have here. Like I told you in the beginning, I will be using AngularJS to post this data into the server. We'll be to create, delete all those Crud operation. We'll be using AngularJS. So with that, well, basically I have added something called heading here, the title. If you remember from this one, from our last time here, when we define our route, we have a title property coming out from the server. This becomes available now. That's why you can see the create product category is the title, and this is just the binding syntax for the EJS. It's really cool, so that automatically gets bind into this property called title, into this header, S3 tag. And after that, I have simple the markup here, and of course we'll be using AngularJS, and we have an AngularJS directive with the name product category module, which does not exist. Of course, right now even Angular, we have to download this one, so it doesn't exist. But I just had the markup ready, and I just thought about name, like the controller, product category controller, and I have just a two widget. But basically, I have a text box called the product category, and I give the entry model for this so that I can refer to it from the controller. And the same idea for the text area. Okay, and finally, we have a button here, a button called create product category, and then of course it will have an ng directive, ng click directive, and that will be calling a function create product category. That is what we have right now. Okay, the next thing we'd like to do now is of course now we need to download the AngularJS, right? To do that, remember, like for the server side, we use a tool called npm, network package management, for the node. But in this time, we need a client-side package management. There is a tool called Bower. That is what we will be using. However, if you have not used Bower before, the first thing you have to do is you have to install. You have to go in here and install the Git for your different, based on whether you are writing code in Windows or Mac, whatever. You need to download this one. Download and install the Git in your machine. Once that is done, then using npm you can do okay, using this command prompt. I'm going to close this one here and go into Visual Studio, and let me close this session, and you go into the command prompt from here also. And well, in my case, I have already installed Bower, but if you have not installed, then you can use npm, and you can say install and Bower. Okay, and of course you want the global option so that it becomes visible. So once that is done, you can start using Bower to download the different kind of libraries that you need in your project. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to say Bower just to make sure the Bower is installed. If you just do a Bower here, it will give you all the different kind of command and the list of command all the command list that it has. You can use it. For example, it has install, it has uninstall, all those things. So let's go ahead and install. Well, not install. Say Bower install. As you can see from the help, the install is one of the options that you can enter into command, and you need to tell what to install. In this case, we're going to say AngularJS. I think just the Angular. Okay, cool. Just it installed the Angular related stuff in our application. So here, when you install the Bower, you will have this new folder called Bower component. And as you can see, these are not, they are little, not like a folder, because by default it is not included in project. But I want to include just for now, just to show you. I'm going to say include this in project. Now it looks like a folder now. And if you go in here, AngularJS, see all the AngularJS related component is installed. They are here in our system now. So we have AngularJS. Okay, now we have Angular, we can start using it. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and then in our public here, this public folder is a client-side folder, and then here is a JavaScript. Now here in the JavaScript folder, what I'm going to do is now we're going to start writing our AngularJS code. I'm going here, add a new item. Let's add a JavaScript file called app. Well, even before that, let's even create a folder here called app folder. I'm going to rename this one to app folder. In the app, I want to add one more folder here called product category. And then in here, I'm going to create a new JavaScript file. Actually, in here, product category module. This is just this is the AngularJS module. Okay, just to because if you want to get the IntelliSense, you can do. I'm going to go into Angular here and just drag this one. It doesn't allow me to. It will have a IntelliSense, but it's okay. We can. Okay, very first thing we can do is we can write our module, AngularJS module here. Okay, let's define a module called this is Angular. Let's define the module called, and right now it doesn't have any dependency. Okay, I'm going to name this one as the same as this. This is our Angular module. Once the Angular module, okay, this is our module. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define a controller here. Define a controller called product category controller. It's going to be pretty easy to so to the Angular, we're gonna say a module. In this time, we're not creating a module. We'll be using the module that we defined in previous file. We're gonna give a name, and then we can define a controller here. Product. Let's name it product category controller, and let's give it a function. Okay, product category controller, and this one here. This is our module. Okay, now we have our controller defined. And once our controller defined, we can do some injection here. We can do our dependency injection. So we can do something like we can use our inject, and then we can specify all our dependency here. To start with, we'll have a service later, but we don't have a service right now. The only thing we just have right now is just we need to scope. I'm not going to go over what the scope is, because I have a separate video tutorial on AngularJS. So this is our injection. Once that is defined, we can say a function product category, and in the constructor we can do something like that. There are several ways of creating constructor, and I like this way a little better, because it's a kind of like, when you this line right here, you have you are kind of like specifying your dependency, as if you're writing server-side code and putting attribute and stuff like that. Let me put a line number, that way it's easier to explain stuff. It is for my text editor, and it's for my JavaScript. Add the line number. That's weird. Didn't add the line number even I said it. Okay, I don't. Maybe I will have to say for Node.JS. That's weird. Maybe it thinks everything is Node.js here. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, now our controller is ready. Of course, in our controller we're going to specify. You can start writing code here. Scope, not scoop. Let's define a product category as an object, right? It will have two. We can define two property right now. Two of the property that it will have, like a category name. We can set it to empty string, and category description or something like that. Or I don't know, whatever I say there, category details or something. I have to look it into the markup. Okay, now that is all done. Remember, if we go into our markup here in our EJS file, okay, let's make sure the module name is same as here. Product category module, and then my controller name is product category controller. Okay. And okay. The next thing based on our page, of course, we need to now write a method here, the action method, create product category. That takes product category. Okay. Scope. Oops, that's not what I mean to do. Just a function, right? And it takes the product category as a parameter. So the idea is this: of course, before that we should have a validation here. I haven't done that one yet. And then when this method gets called, we have a product category. So basically, these are the two pieces of data that user will be entering. That's what we're trying to save into our service. Okay, so we have a data, right? So just by looking at this one, we need to now we are ready to. We're not going to write service into the same page. So we're going to create a new page here. We're going to write a new JavaScript file called service product category. Let's go ahead and add a new file here. New JavaScript file. Product category service. Let me grab the code from the, it's going to be very similar to that one. So we're using the same module, we're going to define our product category service. Instead of creating controller, of course, you will be creating a factory, and you're going to change the name, category service. And of course, we'll be, in this case, instead of injecting a scope, remember we need a STTP that can talk to the server. Basically, what you're trying to do is AJAX service right now, right? So I'm going to get rid of this one here, and this one, of course, as you can see, the factory always return this. So here we're going to return object. Of course, this is inside this. We will be writing our services here. So very first thing we need a method called create product category. Let's write down this method here. And of course, it's just going to be a function that takes the product category that would be handed over by our controller. So basically, controller would hand over the product category to the service, and the service guy knows how to persist the data. Of course, right here, instead of scope, we'll have the service here. Okay. Once we have a service, it's going to be pretty simple. Of course, we'll be returning, and we'll be HTTP post here. And the post need to know the URL, the route that we'll be posting to, right? So this is our route, create product. Of course, this route doesn't, we have the GET request, but the post doesn't exist. We'll have to do configuration. So create product category. And we also need to know the data that we are posting, right? That's going to be our second parameter. Let's see, what data we're posting. The data we'll be posting looks something like this. Let's say a category name, which should be product category name, and perhaps a details. Product category dot category details, something like that. Okay, this would allow us to post this data at least. Okay, now our service is ready, but we need to now do a dependency injection of this service available to our controller. Okay, that's the next thing we're going to do. So we will go into our controller here, and we will be injecting the service that we need. And then, of course, the second parameter for this function would be now, as you guessed, product category service. Very cool. Once we have service, what we can do, of course, before you call your service, you always make sure you have your JavaScript validation is all done. If it is valid, then you would do a submission. And always make sure when you have a server-side validation also, because we don't just rely on JavaScript validation or client-side validation. Okay, so now our service is available or injected here, so we can do something like this now. We can say to product category service, where my mouse go, okay. Product category service has a method called create product category and pass the product category that comes in from the view HTML, right? And then it has a method, and then when we're going to on success, we'll have a callback function. We're going to say if success, the data that comes out from the server, we're going to do something. If it is success, what I would like to do is just for now, I want to say, okay, successful data posted successfully. Just for testing, if it works, then what I would like to do is something like this. I also, for this controller, I would also like to inject another AngularJS service called timeout. Is a timeout service. Of course, we'll be injecting that timeout here to our controller, and then I want to do something like we call timeout. In timeout, of course, timeout takes to parameter our callback function to invoke, and the interval after we used to call the method here. So inside this, of course, I want to have a little markup, like little section. You can see where when you submit, if it's successful, I want to give some message to the user, and I also like to clear out my form, so that user know the operation becomes successful, and also clear the data that currently exists into those text boxes. Okay, we're not there yet, so I'm going to stop it right here. Okay. So for now, I'm just going to comment this out here. Just going to do just comment out this one here. I just want to make sure, of course, I cannot do anything because I haven't my route defined. So next thing I have to do, well, the next thing I would like to do is, remember, I have to do just like we did in our second video tutorial, that we need to configure our post. Let's look at how to do configuration, how to do a post. It's going to be, remember, if you guys remember from our second part of our tutorial, we have this configuration file here. Okay, today in this part we'll do that configuration, and that would be it for today, and then this section of the video, and we'll be continuing the fourth video in upcoming days in the future. So here what we have to do is I go in here and I define into my route table, I'm going to add one more route that is for posting. Okay, instead of gate now it's going to be a post. We'll be posting into that, And then instead of course, when here inside here you will be calling your to develop a DAO update that knows how to persist the data into backend database. But what we can do, let's say we posted the data we have right here. We'll have an API. We will have API, basically a DAO API that knows how to persist data into the MySQL. We have not written that one. We'll have to write, and then that would give us some data, right? So basically, once the data comes out, we're just gonna usually the API can be something like, let's say, a DAO, and of course this doesn't exist. I'm just showing you the sample. Create product category, and it will take, of course, the product to persist, and it will take a callback function, and in callback function maybe we can, and we will do something here. It will take this kind of a structure, and then if everything is good, perhaps it will send us some data, some sort of status or something, right? And inside here you will do, if everything is good, if data, then we're going to just say response. We can return JSON to our color, something like whatever we want. Okay, that's what we'll have to do. Of course, that we'll be doing that, all those things in all the configuration, and actually using the AngularJS starting from our next video tutorial. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's having fun. I'm really enjoying creating these videos and posting into YouTube. Thank you.